So, hello everyone and welcome to another video. So, today was supposed to be my readathon TBR, but the readathon I was thinking of haven't posted anything else. And the other one I am doing is like read whatever you want challenge, so it doesn't have a TBR. So I was just like, why don't we talk about my favorite contemporary romances? So, no paranormal, no fantasy romance. Just to make things a little easier, so these are all contemporary, set in our world, with humans. Only humans, no other creatures. So, this one was extremely difficult to make and take down to 10. Because I had more than 10. So I had to figure out which one of these am I thinking about the most. And this list, I have to say, will most likely change often, because the ones that I have now, when I post this, might have changed because I read a lot of romances right now, because it's just easy to read them. And yeah, so, but also on this list I have no historical romances, because contemporaries set like now, in present time. It's called present, right? I think so. So let's start with number 10, and that is Maybe in Another Life. And this book is about Hannah, and basically she moves back to LA, and basically she stays with her best friend and her best friend's husband. So basically what happens is that they decide to go out on a club the first night she's there. And that night she gets faced with kind of two different choices that she has to make. And then the perspective splits. So the first one is, what happens if she goes home together with the best friend and her husband, and what happens then that changes kind of the direction of her life. Second one is, what happens if she stays and kind of tries to rekindle her relationship with her ex, Ethan. So you get those two timelines where you kind of see what happens. This is really interesting because, there are things that happen in one timeline where you are like, you know that it will affect the Hannah on the other timeline, but you don't know how. So it's super interesting, and I am really happy that I read this book. The next one is Love Me Whole. And this one was super interesting. Basically, we're following Orin. And Orin, he has DID, or dissociative identity disorder, which basically means that he has multiple identities. So I think he has 5 different ones. And then he meets this guy called Vaughn. And basically, Vaughn was in this rut, so he decided that I'm going to take some like evening classes and see kind of where that can lead me. And there he meets Orin, and Vaughn wants to try this out, but it's really difficult with trying something out with a person that is not always the person you met. I loved this, and yeah, it was just really good. And definitely, this is a male, and definitely, if you want to try out a book, definitely try this one, because it's really, really interesting to see kind of how GID affects someone's life in like their love lives, because it's really different than, kind of someone who are only you. Then number 8, we have Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I read this last year and it's still on this list, so I really like this. So, I mean, always when you kind of explain this book, it sounds nuts. Basically, it's about Jordan. And Jordan basically is together with this guy. And he kind of does some stupid things, so they need to move in with the boyfriend's dad. And throughout this book, Jordan kind of gets attracted to Pike, which is her boyfriend's dad, and kind of sees that she has more in common with Pike than she has in her current boyfriend. So yeah, sounds crazy, but when you read this book, I just feel like you don't see it that way. It doesn't kind of feel weird when you are reading this book. At least I didn't. I didn't feel weird at all. Even though it is like she's 19 and he's 38. So almost 20 years, right? Yeah. But it's age gap, it's kind of a forbidden romance, but I really love this and it's on this list. The next book on this list is the Bromance Book Club, and in this book we are following Gavin, and he is a second baseman. I don't know why he plays, but basically he and his wife have been kind of arguing, and because the wife has been faking the big O, and when he figures that one out, he kind of blows. But when his wife says that she wants a divorce, he wants to try and save the marriage, and he gets help from kind of the other players in the team, because they have a Bromance Book Club where they read historical romances to kind of figures out how to pleasure a woman. So yeah, I really love this book. It's kind of a second chance romance where you definitely with a married couple. So there you have that. The next book is a book I reread pretty recently, and that is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. And this one is Hate to Love, and we are following Olive. And Olive has a sister that is kind of the lucky one, because she got like this wedding for free, this honeymoon for free. But then on the wedding, everyone falls sick except Olive and the groom's brother. And basically, now Olive and the groom's brother, called Ethan, basically have to go on their honeymoon and pretend to be their siblings. And then, romance ensues, and it's really good. It's like half in Hawaii, and then they go home. So yeah, and I really love this book, and you kind of get some twists that maybe alter things. The next book I want to talk about is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. And in this one we are following Chloe Brown, and she has fibromyalgia. And basically after a near-death experience, she decides to kind of make a list to get a life. And I always struggle to know what he is. He's the one that fixes things in the kind of place where she lives. They don't like each other that much. I wouldn't say it's like precisely hate to love, because they don't like hate each other. It's just things that have been said and done that they kind of don't like each other for. But you know, he wants to help her get a life and kind of make her be able to do this list. So I really love this book, and it's definitely something I want to buy and reread, and also read the other books. The next book is The Kiss Quotient, and this is also a book I read pretty recently, and in this one we are following Stella. And Stella has Asperger's, and what happens is that the relationships she has been in before, they kind of haven't been the best. So she decides to kind of hire a escort to kind of help her with this. Then she meets Michael, and he is the escort, and basically Stella decides that maybe it's not only that, but she needs to learn to kind of be a good girlfriend, and she hires Michael for that, and basically he needs the money, so he agrees. I loved this. It was really good. I flew through it, which I do with most romances that are good, and yeah, it was really good, and I can't wait to reread this later on and continue on with this series, because yeah, I can't wait to continue on with this series. It sounds really good. So the next one is kind of a series. I can't decide like which one I like the most. That is the Fallen Men series. So let's just talk quickly about all of these. The first is Lessons in Corruption, and in this one we are following Cressida. And Cressida is King's teacher. So it is kind of that, and when I kind of am thinking about this now, I'm watching a teacher and I find that really uncomfortable. I don't find this uncomfortable, but I don't know, I just feel like, I mean, he starts 18 in this book, and he's the one that kind of moves on Cressida. He knows he's a teacher, but she doesn't know it's a student, and it's a dark romance MC, and I just feel like King is the person that could have done that. In a teacher, I don't feel like the main character kind of is that type, but King is definitely the type. He is, yeah, I don't feel uncomfortable with this, which I find with a teacher. Then the next one is Welcome to the Dark Side, and in this one we are following Lou, and Lou was a good girl, then she got cancer, and now she wants to try out the dark side. And she ensues the help of Zeus, which is the president of the MC Club. It's an age gap. Then we have Good Gone Bad. This is Harley, and it's the daughter of Zeus, and it's her romance with Lionel Danner, which is a cop, which is a forbidden romance. And then in After the Fall, we are following Cressida and King again. Then we get down to the last two. There, I cannot decide which one I like the most. But the one I'm going to talk about first is Culty. And in this one, we are following Sal. And basically, she plays soccer. And basically, what happens this year is that the new coach is a famous football player that is not football, soccer, called Reiner Culty. Basically, she used to be the biggest fan of him. But then a kind of something happened and she's not a fan of him, and he's totally different from the one that she remembers. This is Slow Burn. Slow burn. So Mariana Culty is the person that you read almost the entire book before something happens. So I just feel like it's a whole vibe itself to you need to read one, see if you even like it. Then the one on top is The Wolf of Winnipeg and me, and in this one we are following Vanessa, and she works for this football player, and he's called Aiden. And basically what happens is that she quits, then he comes crawling, and he kind of she asks for the unthinkable because of something. This is slow burn as well, just so you know. Slow burn. But I loved it. But that are all the books that are on my top 10 list for the moment. Let's see if that changes after the year. You will get a top 10 romances of this year in 2022. So some of these might be on the list again, but it might have changed. But that was it for this video. I hope you liked it, and I will see you next time for another video. Bye!